Hello and welcome. What is this about? It's about protecting your FileNet platform from compliance exposure, protecting your documents, and at the end of the day, protecting your peace of mind. Why? Because with the introduction of tight data protection regulations like GDPR, the risk of a compliance exposure of your FileNet repository is growing. This is not just a European thing, but applies to many countries in the world. Like in the US, where regulations like the California Consumer Privacy Act also include the right to be forgotten. To make things worse, privacy acts often are extraterritorial. As documents in FileNet contain personal data, keeping everything is no longer a good idea. Given the high fines coming with GDPR and the likes, this can become very expensive. Managing document retentions has become essential and pays off quickly. But there is help. The CENIT Retention Solution, or CRS, augments FileNet Content Manager with additional capabilities to better manage the document retentions and related activities, bringing peace of mind to business leaders, legal, the data protection officer, and the FileNet team. Why is this important? Because these privacy acts and data protection regulations result in several challenges. The business units need to understand the retentions of their documents stored in FileNet. They need transparency and need to know the relevance. To minimize efforts and errors, they need easy to handle efficient processes for approvals, deletions and holds related to FileNet documents with personal data. The challenge of legal and the data protection officer is to reduce compliance exposure. They need to help the business establishing waterproof processes to delete documents that must be deleted and keep documents that must be kept. And that in an auditable way, especially if they have to respond to inquiries from authorities. So the main concern for legal and the DPO is risk. The FileNet team suffers from a lack of reporting and has difficulties in setting up retention processes that the business users themselves can handle in Content Navigator. FileNet does provide basic retention management functionality, however it is limited regarding the settings and the handling, in particular with regard to reporting and approval processes. Their concerns are to reduce complexity and administration efforts, but also reduce storage costs for irrelevant content in FileNet. The answer to this challenge is the CENIT Retention Solution, which complements the basic retention functionality of FileNet. The CENIT Retention Solution provides reporting, management of retention settings, approvals, deletions and holds. All these processes can be handled by the knowledge workers themselves, working directly in the Content Navigator UI. The reporting provides transparency about documents and their retention settings. Reports can be configured, for example, by object class or storage area or document properties. The scheduled reports then will be automatically sent to the relevant users, for example as daily manifest to data stewards. The assignment of retention periods can be based on configurable events. If a specific event has occurred for a document or a folder, the CENIT Retention Solution will automatically assign the retention period defined for this event. This reduces the efforts for the worker and makes it less error-prone. An example would be a contract that automatically gets the retention assigned when the status is changed to archived. To protect documents from deletion, you can define mandatory approval processes. These approvals are configurable, for example based on 4 eyes. The users receive a list of their documents due and then can do random checks if they want. Documents that are approved will be deleted. The deletion also can be denied. Then the new retention period will be assigned. Alternatively, the user could apply a hold. Holds enable you to prevent the deletion of documents whose retention is expired from accidental deletion, for instance to protect evidence for litigations, audits and investigations. Workers can create and delete holds directly in the Content Navigator UI. The holds can be applied manually or automatically in batches based on configurable criteria. The CENIT Retention Solution complements FileNet Content Manager and Content Navigator. A plugin in ICN provides the front-end services, so its handling is very easy and intuitive. The background processing in the FileNet repository is controlled and executed by the CENIT Service Manager, which is part of the solution. All deletions and extensions are logged in the audit trail. The retention solution can be deployed either on a dedicated VM or as container. The retention solution helps to address the challenges of our stakeholders. The business units get consistent processes for their workers and an efficient and less error-prone way to handle their documents in FileNet. That addresses their concerns about risk and productivity. Having transparency, control and auditability reduces the compliance exposure, mitigating risk and avoiding the heavy fines coming with compliance breaches. Legal and the data protection officer have less to worry about. The FileNet team gets a solution that gives them insight, is easy to implement and to manage, and that helps getting rid of content no longer needed in FileNet. This reduces complexity and costs. At the end of the day, our retention solution gives peace of mind to all of them. One of our customers is a European subsidiary of a large Asian insurance. To better comply with GDPR, they wanted to improve the management of document retentions in FileNet, including effective approval processes for deletions and holds. And they needed an auditable deletion of the documents no longer needed. To reduce complexity and efforts, they were looking for a standard solution instead of reinventing the wheel. To meet their objectives, they selected our retention solution. The solution was designed with representatives from business units, legal and a data protection officer. The initial implementation then was done in finance, legal, claims and underwriting, managing both documents and entire records. As standard software, the retention solution allows for speed and agility. And it's cost effective, containing the cost for the initial implementation and the ongoing support. The transparency and control they achieved in their retention management processes reduced risk and costs, both in the business and in IT. Typically, we implement the retention management exemplarily, that is for the most important use cases. CENIT and selected partners offer quick start packages that contain software licenses and the services to get you to production quickly. The license is based on the number of objects in the production object stores. This statement is a perfect summary why you need the CENIT retention solution for your FileNet repository, and why doing nothing is the wrong decision. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. So let's get started and implement a smart and pragmatic solution to quickly reduce the compliance exposure of your FileNet repositories. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you.